The end of the path is the way from the beginning. Taken from the ALETHEON, Volume 1, page 255. The Divine Avataric Self-Revelation of His Divine Presence, Avatar Adida Samraj. 1. The great tradition of humankind is limited entirely to the domain of the first 6 stages of life. Each and every stage in the first 6 stages of life is based on a seeking method that always begins with and is based upon the presumption of egoic self-identification with the body-mind complex. Therefore, even though they differ from stage to stage, all the methods of the great tradition have in common the presumption that the body and or the mind, the body-mind complex altogether, is itself the path to the divine. Psychophysical means are used in every one of the first 6 stages of life, in each stage of life in a particular manner that relates to that stage. On the basis of already presumed egoic self-identification with the body-mind complex, physical and or mental dimensions of the embodied personality are strategically used as a means to attempt realization of the divine or attainment of whatever condition is sought as a goal. Therefore, in the conventional context of the first 6 stages of life, there is no tacit and direct realization of reality itself. In the traditions of the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th stages of life, realization is presumed to occur at the end of a course of using physical and or mental means, generally speaking, manipulated in the manner of dissociative introversion, in the effort to realize the divine or to attain whatever condition is pursued as a goal. Therefore, all realizations in the context of the 4th, the 5th, and the 6 stages of life are conditional because they are psychophysically based and thus inherently temporary. The conditional nature of all such realizations is the reason why practitioners in the traditions of the 4th, the 5th, and the 6 stages of life find themselves required to engage intensively fierce ascetical practices in order to maintain the desired mode of presumed realization in place. In the reality way of Adidam, or Adidam Vishiradam, the forms of right life self-discipline are never about dissociative introversion or retreating within the body-mind self. Rather, in the only by me revealed and given reality way of Adidam, the forms of right life self-discipline are about standing prior to egoic self-identification with the body-mind complex. Indeed, the entire reality way of Adidam is about standing prior to egoic identification with the psychophysical self, not about using the body-mind complex to eventually achieve a state in which you, in one fashion or another, eliminate the body-mind self through your practice and thereby achieve a presumed state of realization. In the only by me revealed and given reality way of Adidam, divine self-realization is the foundation from the beginning. In the course of maturing practice of the reality way of Adidam, the body-mind self becomes more and more conformed to that most perfect realization, or that tacit self-apprehension of the self-nature, self-condition, and self-state of self-evidently divine reality itself. Such is the basis of practice in my divine avataric company, and such is the unique characteristic of the reality way of Adidam, in comparison to all other ways, which are all part of the great path of return. In the great tradition of the great path of return of the first 6 stages of life, the use of methods of dissociative introversion is inevitable. Because egoic self-identification with the body-mind complex is presumed, it is consequently also presumed that the body-mind complex must be progressively brought into conformity with the divine. Thus, in the great tradition, you work on the body-mind complex in order to get to the divine. However, in the only by me revealed and given reality way of Adidam, you stand in the divine self-position, and the body-mind complex is transformed by that stand. Part 2. Consider this. Devotion to me is a conductivity relationship to me. Devotion to me is not a relationship based on dissociative self-consciousness. Searchless beholding of me is the whole bodily disposition that enables my devotee to participate in the conductivity of my divine avataric transcendental spiritual self-transmission. Therefore, maturing practice of the reality way of Adidam is not merely a matter of being well behaved or talking good or practicing by the rule book. Rather, maturing practice of the reality way of Adidam, which necessarily occurs in the context of the first congregation of Adidam Vishuddham, requires great honesty, great profundity of practice, and great clarity of self-understanding. Social egos cannot enter the maturing stages of practice demonstration in the reality way of Adidam. In the only by me revealed and given reality way of Adidam, every maturing practitioner necessarily practices with profoundest responsibility for his or her hidden character, or what is underneath the social ego. The Oedipally-based id-like character is fully within the sphere of responsibility of my maturing devotee, whether he or she is celibate or sexually active. For by me transcendentally spiritually awakened first congregation devotees, that profound responsibility must consistently be demonstrated to be the case. All of my by me transcendentally spiritually awakened first congregation devotees must fully and directly demonstrate real conductivity devotion to me. Radical devotion to me is fundamentally a conductivity process, as well as being, in the root sense, a transcendental matter. If the practice of any by me transcendentally spiritually awakened first congregation devotee is right and true, there will necessarily be the demonstration of real conductivity signs of a transcendental spiritual nature. The only by me revealed and given reality way of Adidam is a realization-based practice rather than a realization-seeking practice. Because that practice is realization-based, its evidence is inevitably demonstrated in terms of the individual's psychophysical signs. However, it is not the psychophysical signs that are, themselves, manipulated in an effort to achieve realization. Rather, the changes in the psychophysical conditions of individuals practicing the reality of Adidam come about because of profound root devotion and conductivity communion with me. The real process of tacitly standing prior to the realization disposition from the beginning. That realization disposition, in and of itself, purifies and transforms the whole body and conforms the whole body to itself. Thus, in reality itself, the divine self-nature, self-condition, and self-state conforms the whole body to itself. However, in the traditions of the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth stages of life, the fundamental method recommended is for the individual to effortfully conform the body-mind complex to the self, or reality itself, or the presumed divine with which union is sought. In this respect, the great tradition or great path of return is the exact opposite of the only by me revealed and given radical or at the root reality of Adidam or Adidam Vishuddham. My true devotee never uses the body-mind self in any strategic, manipulative manner in order to seek to attain me or to attain realization itself. Rather, My true devotee stands in the position of realization, prior to egoic self-identification with the body-mind complex, and the body-mind complex is thereupon transformed because of its conformity to the realization disposition. Da, da, da.